Hello, welcome back. This is day 7 of 30 Days Sketches, and this is a sketch by Maggie Crowley Minneker. I'm scrapping some pictures here of my brother playing snooker. I put a bit of tape over him because I've not got his permission to scrap his picky on here, so I thought I'd just cover him up. The embellishments there, I've got a mixture of Pink Fresh and Vicky Boughton, and with this sketch there's a circle that is raised up in the middle, so I'm just using this Jen Hadfield piece. Have a bit of a fight with my circle cutter. I'm really sorry, squeaky chair. Have a bit of a fight with my circle cutter because I basically didn't put the blade in properly and I broke it, and then had to use the other one and go again, but I hadn't pressed down properly, so this is all like, this is user error, this isn't the equipment. So that's an 8-inch circle that I've cut there, and I am going to stick that up on some foam pads. But to begin with, I'm just taking 1/2 inch off one side of the mixed media card and off the top, which will then mean that it'll sit nicely in the middle of this Maggie Holmes paper with a 1/4 inch border all the way around. The papers are from a kit, I think it's a Chamel Best of Both Worlds one. So, you know, where she does the shopping list and you go and buy what's on the shopping list or shop your stash. I'm just putting the 1-inch foam pads on the back of the circle there to raise that up, and then this is a bit when I'm like, when I realise I didn't mean to stick anything down yet. So you'll notice from the last couple of videos I have made mistakes where I've stuck stuff down and then thought, actually I want to do some mixed media or I want to do some stamping. So I've decided I am going to go back to what I used to say at my scrapbooking and card making classes, where I always told the ladies the last thing you do is glue your stuff down, because if you change your mind you've then got messing about trying to get it back up again. So yeah, I've glued the white card down and I am going to have to pull that up in a minute. I'm just trying to find a piece of card there to mount the photo piece of paper. I use this photo play piece, which is an offcut from one of the earlier videos, and I cut it on the 2 sides with my scissors, which isn't very me, and I do panic doing this, but by this point I have decided that I am actually going to distress the edges. So I do in a minute take that white card back up again, just using the Be Crafty, I think they are, stencils. It's a circular stencil, so when circular stencil of circles, so it does give like an outline is circular as well, which is quite good with the paper. Here I am lifting the background piece up. This is to distress the edges. So I get my Tim Holtz distressing tool out and go around the edge. I think I cut that bit out for you. And now I'm just getting Hickory Smoke Distress ink out to ink the edges. I'm just going to go and do that around those edges, and then once I've done that I do stick the card back down on the background piece. So yeah, I've got the edges on that distress now and stuck back down, and I'm just distressing the edges of the circle now. You know, distressing it hides any lumpy bumps when you've had to hand cut anything. So if you're using a circle template rather than a cutter, or like me, you've not pressed your cutter down properly and you've missed a bit, that it helps when you distress it. I'm just using a 7-inch circle template there to draw a circle that's just a little bit smaller than the 8-inch cut circle, and it'll just give me an idea of where to place the mixed media on the background. And I'm just now inking this with the Hickory Smoke ink. The background stenciling that I'll start in a minute, I think I've used denim faded, is it faded jeans? I can't remember. Oh no, wait a minute, it's Blueprint Sketch that I've used from my distress inks, and just trying to be careful not going over the edge of the stencil to give a halo, which I do fail to do in 2 spots, but I it's not that obvious when I do the stamping. So that's the stenciling done, and then I do on top of that I go and grab some stamps. Before that I do grab some hip kit pieces to use, because I was looking for a title and get some extra circle embellishments out. So grab them, and then I go and grab some stamps, come back with these Felicity Jane stamps, because there's some of the phrases in this that I want to stamp on the background inside stenciling, and I do that stamping in the black Memento ink. So I do the stamping at the top first of all, with knowing that that area is not going to be covered, and the stamping at the bottom, I've got a plan for it, but I just want to make sure the title isn't going to be covering where the stamping is before I stamp at the bottom. So I do stamping at the top, and then get some release paper to put my title onto, to make sure it will fit where I want it. I use the backing from the 1-inch foam pads to do that. The photo ends up further up once I've sorted out my title, so that I can make sure that the title's around it. So with these larger letters, I do the word Snooker. These are puffy ones. I do the word Snooker, and I put this directly on the bottom of the photo. I'm just making sure everything fits where I want it, which is why I'm using this release paper to do that. With the Loopy, I use the blue script font letters and put the Loopy. The Loopy does end up below the Snooker. The letters don't want to stick to the release paper as well, so I do struggle making sure it's where I want it before I stick it down. So it does end up being moved at one point, because I've stuck it before being 100% certain where it's going. Sorry, quick pause for a drink there. So yeah, I don't usually use scripty letter stickers, but I quite like this, and the fact that the word's Loopy, I thought it really went well. The idea is that the Loopy, I don't want white space between the Snooker and the Loopy. I was thinking having the L going over one of the letters in Snooker, but I do decide actually to put the Loopy so it starts before the photo, and the L comes down and around the bottom left corner of the photo, which you'll see in a minute. So I'm just sticking the Snooker directly onto the photo. I do stick the photo to the circle and eventually because I put these on to begin with, and I decide it's a little high, so I do end up sticking the photo to the background piece, but just putting glue in the middle, ATG in the middle of the photo, so that I've still got room to tuck things around the photo if I do decide to do that, so that I'm not completely completely cutting out my options of having something behind the photo. So yeah, the photo needs to come in a little bit and down a little bit, so I'm just playing around with where the L is now to make sure I get that somewhere I'm happy. I do end up moving it again, taking all the letters off, and then sticking the photo where I want it, putting an O on, and then lining the rest of the letters up that way. So it just makes sure everything's where I want it to be. So that's circle, that's one piece now. So that then shows me where is going to be uncovered on stenciling on the bottom for me to do some stamping. So just do that. So with the words that I choose, there is method in my madness. The Snooker, so it's something my brother and my husband did, Mr. Ding did in January, where they were going to a local snooker club just for fun. Neither of them very good at snooker, both of them enjoy snooker, and it was basically a lesson in how not to play snooker, and they were just accidentally potting balls they didn't mean to, or missing the pot and then it going in a different pocket, so completely fluking it. snookering each other by accident and making it look like, you know, they were professional snooker players because they were doing these really hard to get out of snookers, and it was all by accident just because they'd missed what they meant to do. So I just did a little bit more stamping there as well with those mini starburst ones that I think they're like little flowers really, that was in the in that Felicity Jane set. And now I'm just bringing in the embellishments. So with that really long word, it is, let's wait a minute, squeaky chair while I turn around to see it. It says sense of humour required. So it really goes with the story of them trying to play snooker when they were both really rubbish. So I really wanted that on, and I felt it kind of pulled the bottom over to the left a little bit too much. So that's what I'm waving my hand about at the minute. So I do come in and put more elements at the top right of the photo to balance that out a bit. So my starbursts are in, what I was waving my hand about explaining them, my starbursts are in a visual triangle. My stamping is on, with the words, is on a diagonal left to right. The circles, my little circles, pink fresh circles, are on diagonal left to right. And then my big word strips diagonal right to left. And I just really feel it like balances it. Just using some Dilutions black splatters there. Try to get my gold Heidi Shine open to do that. Use that, but it wouldn't open. And then coming in now and sticking the circle down because I'm happy with the mixed media I've got behind. I'm sure that's it. I'm not going to do any more of that. So sticking the main lifted circle and the photo up, making sure the title's where I want it to be, because the L had fell behind the photo. And now just getting the small foam pads on the big 6-2 roll, getting some of them to make sure that these circles where I'm putting them over the edge are lifted up. So I had originally done them in a triangle up at the top corner there, and I liked that, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to put some of these buttons on. So I changed where they were to put some of the buttons on, but I wasn't really happy with it. So you'll see this in a minute. Excuse me, sorry, I'll put the buttons on and then decide actually I'm not really that happy with the buttons, and I do end up taking them back off again and moving that moving two of the circles at the top. Just really not happy with it at all, so I'm going to come pull them off again in a minute. Taking the tape, so I have got foam pads behind anything that's half hanging off or part hanging off the layout, so that part hanging off the big circle, so that it is supported and doesn't end up sticking directly onto the background. Here I am taking the buttons off now. That's just using a bit of that solvent I talked about in my last video to get the sticky off, because it's stuck to the layout. Okay, so just moving the buttons now to where I originally had them when I was planning, and I'm happier with them like that. And then top, once I've stuck those chipboard words down, I come in to the top with some more pieces. So I get here we go. So these are some from the pink fresh sticker sheet. I've got a label there and a piece that says documented. I really should have wrote on this label before I stuck it on the layout, because the writing goes a bit wonky with it not being on there properly. This layout is almost done. I think there's just a couple of more stickers to put on, and that will be it. Please check out the other people taking part in the playlist, and like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment. Engagement's really good. It tells YouTube people are interested in what content makers are putting out. So like, subscribe, say hi in the comments. Thanks for watching. You have a good day. Bye.